your reaction to Donald Trump's tweets. I mean, as a former presidential candidate yourself, is this just, I mean, amazing for you to watch?
Well, he learned long ago that tweets are more effective than press releases or even press conferences. At 140 characters, people will read them. And the way he writes them, everyone reads them.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk vice presidential potential picks for Donald Trump. Where do you see that going?
Well, obviously, Chris Christie is going to be up there. Kasich because of Ohio. Nikki Haley in South Carolina because women and minorities and trying to reach out. And you'll hear names even like Condoleezza Rice, even though she's not an elected official. I think, even though he says he's going to, he has 5 or 6 names, I think that 5 or 6 name list is going to change a lot in the next few weeks, depending on circumstances. He's very careful to say he's not going to make the announcement till the convention.
So let's actually listen to what Donald Trump has to say about this.
You say, the Associated Press is reporting, Trump has narrowed potential VPs to 5, all experienced politicians, not ruling out Chris Christie. Is that an accurate report?
Well, I like Chris a lot. I'm not going to say ruling in or out. I would say that I have in mind 5 different people. I think they're excellent. I'll announce whoever it will be at the convention.
Look, he doesn't seem to be ruling anyone out. We had Dr. Ben Carson on this program last week, and he wouldn't rule out, even though he was put in charge, reportedly, of the pick at that moment, he wouldn't rule out that he was one of the picks.
Well, they all remember in 2000, Dick Cheney headed up the selection committee for George W. Bush and ended up getting the nod himself. So I'm sure Ben Carson is thinking, getting up in the morning, why not me? They're all saying that, and Trump's very wise. Don't take this away until the last possible moment. That helps unify the party. Everyone gets up and says, why not me?
So when Steve Forbes watched this coverage right now, what is the most important thing that you're paying attention to in this race?
Well, I think the big thing, rather than the VP thing, is what's going to happen on Thursday, where you have this meeting with Paul Ryan. I think they're going to emphasize that what unifies them is more than divides them. Trump will be able to say, I'm a negotiator. Paul Ryan will give cover to people down ballot who have worries about how Trump will run in their districts. So it's going to be, if they do it right, win-win for everybody.
Okay.
On immigration and on tariffs, there are going to be differences.
So they'll unite, you think? Paul Ryan will support him?
Ultimately, he'll support him, even though he'll make clear he doesn't agree with him on a couple of issues and say we're not a one-size-fits-all party. We're a big tent.
Doesn't it, and I'm guessing this, I've known you a very long time, doesn't it kind of irritate you a little bit that he can't get, at least he had the last week to really solidify the party, and he comes out and he seems to give a nod to raising the minimum wage, and then he has trouble talking about the U.S. debt, and then he gives a nod to raising taxes on the rich? That had to bother you.
Well, what it is he's got to get his sea legs. He did not anticipate he'd be the presumptive nominee now. Paul Ryan didn't expect that this would be over now. It was the Democrats who were supposed to have the coronation, not the Republicans. So he was not prepared for it. I think now with this week, he'll put that behind him, make it clear. On the minimum wage, he gave himself a great out. Let the states decide what's best on minimum wage.
Which they already do.
Yeah, that is how it works, actually.
Which they're doing, and the crazy states are going crazy, as you would expect.
All right, hold on. So, David, I want to get you in here, but we first want to get into one of these exit polls from last night, revealing what is really on the mind of the voter.
And some of this is a surprise, actually, Sandra, which we haven't seen in recent polls. So let's look at the Republican exit polls coming out of the state of West Virginia. The most important issue facing this country is the economy and jobs at 57%.
Not a surprise to us.
No, but look at what came in second, health care at 19%.
Oh, David, wow.
I thought Obama fixed that.
Right. Terrorism is third. It had been economy and terrorism. But with health care, it's unique to West Virginia, given, I mean, when you have coal miners and the difficulty of their jobs and how it really destroys their bodies over long periods of time, I think that is very interesting and plays into Bernie Sanders. You know, he wants Medicare for all.
Right, and that's not a surprise. I think Dagan's absolutely right. Why health care does well there is an issue. Steve, the other thing for Donald Trump, and my question to you, and frankly to Donald Trump on this, is does it help him to form these policy teams, wait on the VP announcement for the convention, but along the way to help unify the party, bring the policy teams on key issues, health care, bring the policy teams on domestic security, international issues?
Oh, absolutely. And it shows that he's putting teams together. Right now, it's been very much of a solo operation. brilliantly done. But he's in a very different stage now. Now he's got to ramp up, I think, even faster than he had anticipated doing this. On health care, wide open. It's a very emotional issue. Even people who have health insurance now didn't have before finally have less access to medical care because of these crazy deductibles. So it's a ripe issue. And if he gets some good ideas out there, for example, why doesn't he propose? They could do it on Thursday. The Medicare require that hospitals and clinics post their prices for all their services and treatments so you can see in advance. Hospital A
Full transparency.
$2,000 for MRI. Another one charges $300. Right. Put something out there that shows that he understands people have very unhappy experiences. One, being sick is bad enough, but the experience in many hospitals leaves people absolutely frustrated and just enraged.
Steve, have you endorsed him?
No, I'm endorsing the nominee, which I don't think there's any question as to who the nominee is going to be.
You'll come out and say, I'm endorsing Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Steve, just coming into our newsroom this morning to expect a House GOP discussion on Trump this morning. This is the weekly conference meeting at 9 a.m. taking place on Capitol Hill. But this is the first meeting since Donald Trump became the presumptive nominee. House Republicans are expected to discuss a lot of things, including policy initiatives. You wonder what's going to be discussed behind those doors.
Well, we'll know even before they open those doors, the way Twitter works these days.
Try to keep a politician quiet in D.C. It's not going to happen.
And so they'll be discussing these issues. People who come from districts that is very much in favor of Trump will say, hey, you got to get on board. Others who are down ballot, especially in the Northeast, have very real worries of how well he'll actually play in the election, are going to want some cover. I think Ryan will provide that.
How much money can he raise, you think?
Being
a money bags yourself.
Yeah, it's tough. And having said that he could put in $1 billion or $2 billion of his own money, he did that about 8 months ago. The Democrats are going to hit him on it. Oh, you said you had all this cash. Where is it? So he's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of got to go to the big donors and say this is for the party, not just for me. He's got a lot of work, and I think he's having to do it sooner than he'd anticipated.
Steve, leaning on your business expertise, can you paint the picture of a Donald Trump presidency and what that would mean for the economy, what that would mean for business?
This is what he has to spell out. One, the fact that he emphasizes negotiation is a signal. I'm not rigid. So don't think it's going to be my way or the highway that we had with Barack Obama. And putting these teams together, as David suggested, would show that he knows he's got to put a team together. And reaching out to House members, even though he won without hardly any of them, without the Senate, without hardly anybody, he's got to show that he realizes he's got to work together, even though he knows he did it on his own.
Yeah.
Okay, you did it on your own, but now you have to reassure people who are not with you, who may not like you, but don't like the Democrats. So you got to give them, remember, when you vote, it's a vote. The emotion doesn't count. And that's what he's got to appeal to, people who may not be really with him. He's got to reassure them, hey, take the chance on me.
Good stuff.
On Twitter, #NeverHillary. There you go.
Steve Forbes, great to have you this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.